Hi, welcome to my video on review 1 of sinusoidal functions. This review is on videos numbers 1 to 18, and as in previous reviews in the other units, you can treat it as a quiz and give yourself a score of a total of 34, and that means you do add up the scores on each page, get your total, put it up to 34, divide, and get a decimal, move your decimal 2 places to the right to get a percent. So, let's start a review. And all the questions are in order of the videos. I have an equation. This says complete the mapping rule, and this is sine. So it's an assigned equation. So the mapping rule is reciprocal of a half is 2 theta, and opposite of plus 60 is a minus 60. And the y is 3 times y plus 4. And if you have that, give yourself a mark. Now let's graph using the mapping rule. Again, this equation is a sine, so it's the basic equation is y equals sine theta. And let's do the mapping rule first. So we got theta comma y, and reciprocal of 3 is 1/3. Theta, opposite of minus 30 is a plus 30. And when you do the y, you get a negative 2 times y minus 1. So, if you take the basic theta and y and do 0, 90, 180, 270, 360, then the sine of 0 is 0. The sine of 90 is 1. The sine of 180 is 0. Sine of 270 is negative 1, 0. So this is 1/3 theta plus 30. And this is negative 2y minus 1. Let's do the degrees first. 0, 1/3 of 0 is 0 plus 30. 90, 1/3 of 90 is 30. 30 plus 30 is 60. 180, 1/3 of 180 is 60. 60 plus 30 is 90. And notice you're going up by 30, so this should be 120. This should be 150. And let's check it. 360, 1/3 of 360 is 120 plus 30. Perfect. Now let's put 0, these values in. 0 going in gives me negative 2 times 0 is 0, minus 1. 0, minus 1. 0, minus 1. Let's put a 1 in. Negative 2 times 1 is negative 2, minus 1 is negative 3. And put a negative 1 in. Negative 2 times negative 1 is 2. 2 minus 1 is 1. So let's graph those. So we have a 30 and a 60 and a 90, 120 and a 150. So here we go. 30 is a negative 1. 30 is a negative 1 right here. 60 is a negative 3. 60. 90 is a negative 1. 120 is 1. And 150 is negative 1. So we have a sideways S, and notice. And it continues on like that in both directions, following this pattern. And you can see we have a sine on the sinusoidal, 3 points right here. 1, 1, 2, 3. And the sine's negative is going down. Perfect. Makes sense. And now we have another equation with cos. And the mapping rule here is theta comma y. And half reciprocal is a 2. Theta minus opposite minus pi, and this is 3 over 2y plus 2. And again, this is the basic equation here is y equals cos theta, so we got theta and 0, and we got radians this time. 0, 90 is a pi over 2, 180 is pi, 370 is 3 pi over 2, 360 is 2 pi. Notice pi over 2 is 90. 180 divided by 2 is 90. And 3 times 90 is 270. And for cos, the cos of 0 is 1, cos of 90 is 0, the cos of 180 is negative 1, the cos of 270 is 0, the cos of 360 is a 1. So let's put 2 theta minus pi and 3 over 2y plus 2. That's 0 radian, 0 minus pi is negative pi. 2 pi times 2. 2 times pi over 2 is 2's cancel, I get pi minus pi is 0. Put a pi in. 2 times pi is 2 pi minus pi is pi. Notice we're going up by pi. And let's try another one. 3 pi over 2 times 2. The 2's cancel. 3 pi minus pi is 2 pi. Again, we're going up by pi, so this should be a 3 pi. Let's check. 2 pi here. 2 times 2 pi is 4 pi minus pi. Right. Now, let's check. Let's do these values in here. Put a 1 in. 3 over 2 times 1 is 3 over 2 plus 2. That's 3 over 2 plus 2 is 3.5. So 1 right here is 3.5. I got a 0. Put a 0 in. I get 0 minus 2. Sorry, 0 plus 2 is 2. So that's a 2. Put a negative 1 in. 3 over 2 times negative 1 is negative 3 over 2. Negative 1.5 add on 2 is a half. And so let's graph these. Negative pi right here. 0 pi. 2 pi. And 3 pi. So negative pi gives me 3.5. 0 gives me a 2. Pi gives me a half. 2 pi gives me a 2. 3 pi gives me 3.5. And so the graph is a sideways C like this. And the graph continues on like that. And so in the markings, if you have the mapping rule, mark. If you have this table, mark. Another mark, graph, another mark, 4 altogether. And same here, mapping rule, table, other table, and the graph, 4 marks, 9 together. 9 on that page in total. Okay, let's continue. And now we have a graph, and this is find 2 points using letters where sign is positive. Sign starts on the sinusoidal, so we can have B, D, F, and H, only these points. Sign starts on the sinusoidal. Sign is positive when it goes up. So sideways S starts at B and ends here. And another one is F. F is a sign starting on the sinusoidal going up. Now, sign is negative, starts on the sinusoidal and goes down. So it's D. There's the sideways S going down, down. So it's D. And going down is H. So sine is positive going up. That means cos is positive going down. That means from the maximum. So it's going down, sideways C. There's a sideways C. And the sideways C is also here. If you continue on with a pattern like this, starting on G. So sine is negative going down. Cos is negative going up. It's just the opposite. So cos starts at the minimum. Cos going down starts at the max. Cos going up starts at the min. So cos starting going up, it's sideways C. There's the min at A, and there's the min at E. So if you take A, there's a sideways C going up, and at E, sideways C going up. So mark each. If you have these right, give yourself a mark each. Number 5, state the sinusoidal axis. Sinusoidal axis is split it in half. And the sinusoidal axis is y equals 1. The amplitude is the height from the sinusoidal axis up. 1, 2, 3. Or you could go 1, 2, 3 down. Up or down makes no difference. But let's get the period before we get the frequency. So this is negative 60. This is negative 30. this is 30, and this is 60. So if you go from max to max, you get a negative 30 plus 90 is 120. Or if you go from here to here, this is 30, 60, 90, this is 120, this is 150. So if you go sideways S, go from here to here, 120. Now, a frequency is the number of degrees between 0 and 360. So the number of waves. So if one wave or cycle is 120, that means there's 320s in here, so the period is 120, so there's 3 of them. So if you kept on graphing this like this, kept going, you get 1, 2, and you go again, you get 3. So 1, 2, 3. So the frequency is 3 of them between 0 and 360. And number 6, we have an equation, and the sinusoidal axis, that's the A, that's the B, that's the H, and that's the K. The sinusoidal axis is so K is 2, so the sinusoidal axis is Y equals 2. The amplitude is the number in front. The amplitude is the absolute value of A. So A is negative 4, but the absolute value is 4. Amplitude is never negative. Amplitude is the height, 4. Again, the frequency is the B. The B in the equation is 1/3, so there's 1/3 of the cycle. So that means 1/3 between 0 and 360. The period is, if you think about it, the period is, it's in terms of radians, so it's 2 pi divided by B. So it's 2 pi. B is 1/3. So that's 2 pi times 3 over 1. So that's 6 pi. So that means between 0 and 360, or between 0 and 2 pi, there's only 1/3 of the wave. So this value here is the frequency. And the phase shift is a negative pi over 4. It's gone to the left, pi over 4, 45 degrees. And again, 4 marks here, 1 mark for each of these with a phase shift. I didn't do the phase shift here. The phase shift is a negative 60 degrees. 60 degrees to the left. A is 60. There's 0, negative 30, negative 60. So if you got 5 of these, give yourself a mark each. You got the 5 of these, give yourself a mark. 14 for that page. Number 7, the increment changes on the period. So we got a 240 degrees. So the increment change is P divided by 4. So 240 divided by 4. So the increment change is 60. And the increment change is P divided by 4. So it's 4 pi over 5 divided by 4. 4 pi over 5 times 4 over 1, it becomes 1 over 4 reciprocal. 4's cancel. So I get a pi over 5. Each of these give yourself a mark. Now, the starting point here, very easy to get the starting point, I find, is that you take the opposite of negative 60 and get a plus 60 degrees. Put 60 degrees here and I get a 0. 2 times 0 is 0. The cos of 0 is 0. 3 times 0 is 0. So I get a negative 1. You got that? I find that's the easiest way to get it. So the opposite of plus pi over 2 is a negative pi over 2. Okay, that's easy. Now, put a negative pi over 2 here and you get a 0. 1/3 times 0 is 0. The cos of 0 is 1. Negative 4 times 1 is negative 4. Plus 3 is negative 1. Because you could say, here, this is an H and a K, and here you could go H and K, or here you could go, that's H and it's K plus the A. But I just get the opposite and put it in and work it out. I get the answer. So I got 1 mark each. And number 9, which two starting points represent? Sine, negative. Sine is on the sinusoidal. Sine is always on the sinusoidal, and it's going down. So sinusoidal is the A, going down, and it's going down from the E. C and G would be sine positive because it's going up, sideways S. Cos positive, cos is positive, sine is positive going up, so cos is positive going down, and it's down from the max. So the max is D and H. If cos was negative, it would be going from the min, going up. Number 10, we have an equation, and we want a graph using the starting point, increment changes, and amplitude. So we graphed earlier videos on the mapping rule. Now we use the starting point, increment changes in. So the starting point is the opposite of a negative 45. Opposite of a positive 45 is negative 45. That gives me 0. 2 times 0 is 0. The cos of 0 is 1. Negative 3 times 1 is negative 3 plus 1 is negative 2. Now, increment changes. So, the period, this is in degrees, so the period is 360 divided by B. So that's 360 divided by 2. So that's A, that's B, that's H, and that's K. So the period is 180. So the increment, I'm going to say INC, increment changes is P divided by 4. So 180 divided by 4 is a 45. So the increment changes are 45. So we start at 45, negative, and we add on 45. So if you add on 45, you get a 0, add on 45, add on 45, add on 45. So we have a negative 45, 0, 45, 90, and we have 135. Okay, that's all the degrees that we have here. There they are. Now let's do the amplitude. So the amplitude is the A. The A value is 3. The amplitude is never negative. The amplitude is 3. So what happens in a cos graph? A cos graph is negative. So if this cos graph is negative, that means it's going up. So that means it's like this. So that means it's 4 parts. This is one part. That's the other part. So this is first part, second part, third part, fourth part. So we're going up, up, down, down. So at 45, we got a negative 2. So if we're at a negative 2 and we're going up 3, so that means we go to a 1. And if we're going up again to 45 degrees, so pretend it is here. So we're going up 3, and we're going up 3 again, so that's a 4. Now we're going to come down. So we're at 4, we come down 3, we get a 1. We come down 3 again, we get negative 2. That's working with the amplitude. Remember, a cos graph goes up, up, down, down. So that's why you're subtracting and adding the, here, add on 3, add on 3, take off 3, take off 3. You get those. So negative 45 is a negative 2, which is right here. 0 is a 1. 0 is a 1. 45 is a 4. 45 is a 4. 90 is a 1. 90 is a 1. And 135 is negative 2. So it goes, it's doing this. Notice we got this looks good, and then it goes, continues on like that. And again, notice there's a cos graph, sideways C, and it's because it's negative, cos is negative going up, cos is positive going down, reverse of opposite of sine. Sine is positive going down. Sorry, sine is positive going up. Sine is negative going down. So remember, sine is positive up, negative down. Cos is positive down, cos is negative up. And there's 5 marks here. You got 2 marks is 1 each for each of those, and you get those marks. And here, if you got the starting, if you got the increment change of 45, you got the amplitude, and if you got all these numbers here and here, you plot it right, you get 2 more marks, so 5 altogether. 5, 11 total. So total up all your scores at the bottom. Come back to the beginning, right here. Put it over 34 and work out your percentage. And hopefully everything is good. Again, if you liked the video on the review, click on the like button. If you're not a subscriber, you want to subscribe, click the subscribe button. Visit my math website, www.mathfullyexplained.com, to find more information about me, my videos, and the content. That's the content that's on my YouTube channel called Math Fully Explained. Bye-bye. Oh, I forgot to mention, thank you for viewing my video. Hope the video was of help to you. Bye-bye.